Hello, we're going to do a lovely pelvic floor health routine which is going to help you with your awareness and connection with the pelvic floor, as well as really developing some lovely length and strength. We're going to do some very nice toning work as well as some nice relaxation. So first of all, we're going to start off by finding our midline position, so really helping engage with that lovely feeling of alignment and balance through the whole body. So first of all, just come into a nice easy standing position, feet hip width apart. And to begin with, we're just going to rock slightly forwards, bringing our weight onto our toes. And then we're going to rock slightly backwards, bringing our weight back into our heels. So bring the weight forwards into your toes and then backwards into your heels. Just get a slight sense of that shift in gravity through the body, how that feels, what relaxes, what contracts as you go into these movements, just allowing that centre of gravity to move backwards and forwards. And then we're going to do the same, but side to side. So feet hip width apart and just gently sway, putting your weight into one foot and then sway, bringing your weight into the other foot. And just do this a few times. So again, you can feel that real shift in centre of gravity, feel and become aware of those different muscles contracting and relaxing, and maybe even a sense of stretch. Sway side to side, and after a few times, come back into that nice, easy midline position. And from here, I want you to feel nice and centered with the weight going down through the midfoot. So if you wanted to, you could lift up your toes and create that little bit of lift there. And you've got the weight nicely centered through the midfoot. The quadricep muscles, the thigh muscles switched off, the kneecaps nice and relaxed, a widening and a broadening across the chest, and the head in that nice midline position. So from the side on, you've got the weight into the midfoot, so you can lift the toes, quadricep, thigh muscles nice and relaxed, kneecaps switched off and relaxed down, pelvis towards the back of the feet, just so you've got that alignment balance backwards, opening through the chest, and then that little head ramp, bringing the head back in line with the rest of the spine. So you've got the body really nicely stacked and nice and balanced throughout. So in this nice balanced, relaxed position, we're now going to do a little bit of pelvic floor connection and awareness with the breath. So we're going to breathe in and out through the nose. And as you breathe in, I'd like you just to sense a little relaxing, a little lowering, a little releasing in the pelvic floor. And then as you exhale, you'll feel a little rise, a little lift, and create that little bit of extra squeeze and contraction. So breath in, feel the pelvic floor lower, and then breathe out. Tighten, squeeze, lift up through the pelvic floor. Inhale, relax, lower the pelvic floor. Exhale, get that little lift, squeeze, rise, and that nice connection. Inhale, allow the pelvic floor to release and relax. Exhale, get that lovely lift, that connection, that contraction as the pelvic floor rises. Couple more times. Inhale, release, feel that bulge and that release, relaxation in the pelvic floor. And then exhale, nice little lift and squeeze. And then inhale, fully relax. That's just helping with a little bit of warming up of the pelvic floor and helping develop that awareness and that connection. Now again, we're going to warm up through the pelvic floor, but we're going to add in a little bit of pelvic tilting movement. So hands on your hips and a little tilt forwards of the pelvis, and then a little tilt backwards, and a tilt forwards, and a tilt backwards, a tilt forwards, and a tilt backwards. Exhale as you tilt forwards. Inhale as you tilt backwards. Exhale, tilt forwards. Inhale, tilt backwards. Keep going. As you inhale, you get a natural lift in the pelvic floor. As you exhale and tilt backwards, those hip bones separate and you get that nice stretch and release. Inhale back, exhale forwards, couple more. Inhale back, exhale forwards. Now we're going to come into a little split stance position, that's like staggered position, and we're going to do exactly the same. The difference here is that we get this lovely diagonal stretch, contraction and then release diagonally across the pelvic floor. So much the same. We're going to do a little lift up the pelvis at the front and then we're going to tip it backwards. Exhale forwards, inhale backwards. Exhale forwards, inhale backwards. Keep going. Lovely. Feel that tension change across the pelvic floor with the inhale and the exhale. And then swap legs. One in front of the other, same again. Exhale, bring the pelvis up at the front. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Couple more like this, that's it. Bring it up at the front and then to the back. Lovely, really nice. Now we're going to go through a lovely pelvic releasing mobility routine that is lovely for the spine as well as the hips. So coming onto all fours, we're going to start off just cycling through the cat-cow position. So start with your spine and your pelvis in a nice sort of neutral, relaxed position, and we're going to do a little cat-cow 6 times each way. So exhale as you drop your head down, inhale as you bring it up, exhale, inhale. Feel that lovely length and stretch in the front body and that lovely length and stretch in the back body. Keep going. A few more times. Push up between those shoulder blades to get that full rounding and stretch in the upper back. And then back to our tabletop neutral position. Now we're going to do a few rotations. So we're going to drop the shoulder and reach through with the hand. A couple times like this. And if that feels relatively comfortable and easy, we can start to add in a few other little progressions. So from here, as you thread through, you can slide that hand forwards and that gives that little bit of extra stretch. Come back, slide the hand forwards as you reach through and get that lovely stretch now through the shoulder as well as that nice rotation through the spine. Couple more times each side. Lovely. And now we're going to introduce some side bending to the spine. So it looks like that. So wag the tail position and a little hip hitch on one side and a hip hitch on the other. Keep going side to side. Feeling that lovely contraction on one side and the lovely stretch on the other. So I'll turn and then you can see how it looks from this way. So you're lifting your hip on one side and then lifting your hip on the other side. Couple more times each way. Lovely. And now we're going to get that lovely stretch through the spine and the shoulders. So sit back, your hips going towards your ankles and come back up again. Stretch the arms out and away, sit the hips back to the feet and feel that lovely stretch all the way through the shoulders and down into the spine. Couple more like this. Lovely. Now we've warmed everything up, switched everything on. Let's do a little bit of muscle activating work. So find yourself a towel or a blanket or a soft ball, and then come to lie on your back. And you're going to place that towel firmly between your knees, and you're going to create a little bit of contraction and a little squeeze between the knees. You're going to inhale to prepare, and then exhale, lift your hips off the floor. So you get that lovely glute squeeze as well as the adductor, the inner thigh squeeze at the top there. Inhale, relax down. Exhale, push up. Inhale, relax down. Exhale, push up. Inhale, down. Exhale, up. Keep that nice squeeze of the knees together and that nice squeeze of the glutes as you push up to the top. Exhale, push up. Inhale, relax down. Exhale, push up. Inhale, relax down. Lovely. Couple more. Inhale and relax. Lovely. Good. Now we're going to do a little bit of squat work, and we're going to add in some breath work to the squat to make it really nice and connecting on the pelvic floor. So we're going to inhale as we lower into the squat, and then we're going to exhale to push ourselves back up again. So feet come slightly wider than hips, and you can do this either with a chair behind you, or you can do it holding on to a door handle, whatever you prefer. You can make small dips or you can make full squats, whatever feels good for you. Remember, the breath is the key here, as that really helps connect up the pelvic floor. So we're going to inhale as we lower, and then we're going to exhale to come up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, come up. As you lower down, make sure those knees push apart and come back up. And your weight stays nicely towards the back of your feet. Inhale, lower. Exhale, back up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, back up. Keep the knees pushing out. Weight should feel into the back of the foot, not coming into the tiptoes, and the chest and the head should stay up. A few more here. Inhale, lower, and exhale, come up. Inhale, lower, exhale, come back up. Lovely. That creates a nice connection across the pelvic floor in a sort of square and even shape across the pelvic floor. Now I want to create a little diagonal and rotational engagement, stretch and connection with the pelvic floor. So we're going to do a squat again, but it's in a staggered position, that split stance position. And we're going to come down again, inhale to lower into a staggered squat like this. And then you're going to come up but reach to your toe here. Inhale down. Exhale up. Reach to the toe. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up. You'll feel a lovely stretch in that hamstring as you come up, and that push and engagement and connection with the buttock muscle on that side. A few more on this side. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up. Lovely. And now let's swap sides. Come into that staggered position again. Inhale, slowly lower. And then reach for the toe. Inhale down. Exhale up. Reach for that toe. Feel that lovely stretch. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Keep your chest nice and open and upright, and that head and neck in line with the rest of the spine. Couple more on this side. Lovely, very nice. Now we're going to do some really lovely stretching work through the pelvic floor to get that lovely lengthening. So we're going to come into what's called a goddess pose or a horse pose or a sumo squat, which is a very wide squat position. So feet really quite wide apart, much wider than hip width. Turn the feet out just slightly. That helps free off the hips. And then arms come up overhead. And as you lower, you're going to bring the hands down. So lower into the squat, hands come down, and then up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Try and keep that weight into the back of your feet again, so you're not falling forwards onto your tiptoes. Push the knees apart as you drop down. Don't let those knees cave in. Keep that chest upright. Inhale down. Exhale back up. Couple more. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down and exhale back up. Now we're going to do a lovely butterfly stretch, which again helps really open through the pelvic floor. And we're going to link in a little bit of breath work with that as well. Okay, so lying onto your back, going to put the feet just hip width apart and allow your arms to relax by your sides. And from this position, just very gently allow the knees to come apart so you get that lovely stretch along the inner thigh. And also this will be stretching through the pelvic floor as well. And then bring the knees back together again. Inhale, let the knees fall apart. And exhale, bring the knees together. Inhale, the knees come apart. Exhale, knees come together. As you inhale and those knees fall apart, you get that lovely separating of the sit bones, and when you coordinate the breath, that pelvic floor is also able to relax and release and stretch as well. Inhale, knees apart. Exhale, knees together. Let's just stay in this butterfly pose for a minute and put a few rounds of breath here. So nice inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. And as you breathe, see if you can feel any movement in the pelvic floor, that lovely coordination of the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, lifting and lowering as you inhale and exhale. Just allow the knees to drop, those muscles to switch off and relax in this position. Now let's try a happy baby pose. So this position we can try in a couple of different ways. So you can either do it one-legged or two legs at the same time. So you're just going to hold the outside of your foot, and with the other leg you can leave it exactly where it is. You can drop it down, or you can bring it up with the other one as well. Whatever feels good for you and feels right. So in this position, we're just going to work with the breath and just allowing that lovely open release through the pelvic floor. So lovely rounds of breath here. Try and push your tailbone into the floor And as you do that, you'll feel an increased sense of stretch and widening through the pelvis, inside, across the pelvic floor, and also in the back of the legs. Keep that breath going. Bring the knees towards your chest and try and flatten your tailbone towards the floor. If it becomes too intense or too much, don't forget you can just drop one leg down in a half happy baby, either with the knee bent or with the leg out straight, whatever feels comfortable, and you can just do one side at a time. A couple more rounds of breath here to allow that lovely stretch and release. Lovely. Good. Now we're going to do some nice frog stretching. So this is a all fours position, and we're going to come again. The knees are going to go a little bit wider than hip. You can see here they're a little bit wider. And from this position, we're just going to drop the hips back towards the knees, and we're going to feel a nice stretch in the inner thigh here. So choose your position. Just going slightly wider than hip width may feel good for you, and it may be even better if you go that little bit wider. So just work in a position that feels nice and comfortable so you get that lovely inner thigh stretch. And we're just going to rock backwards and forwards in this froggy position with our knees bent, and then we're going to do a few with the legs straight. So turn the leg out to the side and then sit back for a few stretches here as well, rocking backwards and forwards. And you'll just feel that stretch slightly change in those adductor inner thigh muscles with the leg out, and then come back in again and then turn the other one out. Couple here. Rocking backwards and forwards. Get that lovely inner thigh stretch. Those adductor muscles are connected all the way up into the pelvis and run into the pelvic floor muscles. So this is another lovely stretch and release movement for the pelvic floor. Lovely, really nice, good. Now we're going to do some pelvic floor release work using some balls. I'm just going to get the chair and the balls. So 2 balls, tennis balls, lacrosse balls, trigger point, therapy ball, whatever you've got to hand. And I'm going to show you this from 2 different angles so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So the 2 balls need to go just inside your sit bones. So here are the sit bones, just where I'm pointing at with my fingers, and the ball needs to go in that position there. And then you're going to sit on the balls. So there we go. So those balls come just inside the sit bones. So it'll feel quite intense on the pelvic floor. And when you sit on your chair, you might want to put a blanket on the chair if it's quite hard. And in this position, you're just going to literally breathe. This might feel quite intense already, just in this position here. So you're just going to start to breathe. Inhale. Feel the pelvic floor descending onto the balls. And then exhale. Lifting up and off the balls. So just slowly, couple of rounds of breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Just let your body start to accommodate the pressure of the balls. When you're ready, we're then going to do a little bit of pelvic tilting, and we're going to rock the pelvis backwards and forwards. So from here, little tilt forwards and a little tilt backwards. This can feel super intense as you find those little tension spots in the pelvic floor, but this is such a lovely way to release any tightness, any tension from over gripping, from over tightening, from overworking. So some lovely pelvic rocks here over those balls. Woohoo! That feels sore. Lovely. Definitely got some spots. And after a few little rocks there, we're now going to change it again. So come into that nice midline sitting position. And from here, we're going to literally bend and crease at the waist, at the hips. So we're going to crease at the hips and we're going to lean forwards over the knees. Again, this is just changing the angle of the pressure of the balls on the pelvic floor. Crease at those hips, bringing the chest over the knees. Keep your back as flat as you can, so no rounding in the back. This should be a pure hip hinge movement. Creasing, bending at the hips, bringing that chest forwards. Again, just slightly changing the angle and that pressure point of the ball onto the pelvic floor. Couple more here. Good. Ooh, that's feeling intense. Keep going a few more times if you can. Really nice. Lovely. Great. Well, I hope you enjoyed the pelvic health routine. Let me know how you get on.